why do I have to use emotional intelligence in management, in leadership? And I remember one day, not long ago, I was doing some volunteer work. Okay, I was volunteering, teaching leadership at a volunteer organization. They do good work of helping society. For example, ending polio in third world countries. Okay, so a lot of their members are retired, but they love working. They love keeping busy. They have a lifelong habit of being a contributor to society, and they don't mind donating their time, their energy, their muscle, even their own money toward a good cause. Okay, and I was there helping by teaching a little class on leadership and using emotional intelligence to lead people, to coach people, and to help to contribute to society. And then at the end of my teaching, okay, this older gentleman asked me a question. Okay, he seems to be genuinely confused. And then he said, "So what happened to just grab them by the collars and just shake them out of their confused wrong think, and just tell them to straighten up? Okay, why do I have to deal with all this touchy-feely and I use all this indirect method to deliver such a simple message? Okay, what happened to the good old days when I could just shake him, grab him by the collar and just shake him, and then just tell them?" Okay, and he was genuinely confused and frustrated. So I gave him the answer. Okay, the answer is pension reform. And then he said there he was even more confused. He said, "What has pension reform got to do with anything?" So I quickly and briefly explained to him, okay, roughly pre-1990, maybe 1995, okay, the pension here in America was called defined benefit. And then post-1998 or maybe 1995, the pension here in America is called defined contribution, okay? And here are the differences. Under the older system, which is called defined benefit, okay, the system started a little bit after World War II, and the system goes like this. So you're 18, you're 22, you're out of school, and you come to this giant, huge legacy corporation to get a job. And the idea here is you're going to work for the same corporation for life. And then when you reach 65, when you retire, the corporation, not the government, okay? This is not to be confused with Social Security. Not the government, but the corporation will give you a pension out of the corporation's pocket, okay? Until you die. And after you die, we'll just keep on paying your wife until she dies, okay? It was called the defined benefit, okay? And that was designed in the 1950s when most of our workforce were manual labor, and then people lived roughly 2 years after their retirement. A lifetime of manual labor, and then the body is all used up. And then the medical technology back in the 1950s were nowhere near as good as 21st century, okay? If you think all the way back in 1776, if you fell off a horse, okay, you started bleeding, and the horse kicked on your head, there's no ambulance. There's no cell phone to call an ambulance, okay? And if you fell off a horse, you broke your neck, and that was the end of that. Today, there's cell phone, there's ambulance, there's a modern surgery and all that. So we just live longer and longer and longer thanks to medical technology. So now we live many, many years, many, many decades after our retirement. And the corporation is on the hook to pay and pay and pay. And then the math became upside down. A corporation may have such a pension liability. They may have so many people, okay, on the books to receive pension from the corporation. They might have more pensioners to pay than their current employees. The current employees, the current corporation may not be able to generate enough income to pay for this legacy pensioners, okay? Because they just keep on living, and thanks to medical technology, they just keep on living. So the math just won't work anymore. So throughout the whole of the first world, all the industrialized nations, around 1990, they all changed from defined benefit to defined contribution, all right? So with defined contribution, you come to work, you get a job with the company, okay? Every month, out of your pay, the HR payroll, they will cut out a certain amount. So you are contributing to your own retirement, all right? Now, by the time you retire, 40 years from today, how much are you going to collect? How much is your pension worth? Whether you can collect at all, we don't know, and we are not responsible for it. All we do is we cut out a certain amount, okay, and put in a pension fund, and then the fund is invested on the stock market, and depends on the ups and downs of the stock market, especially the day before your retirement. If the market crashes the day you retire, 40 years from today, we, the corporation, your employer, we are not responsible for it. So that is the current system, which is called defined contribution. So how does this relate to management style, leadership style? Okay, it relates because under the good old system of defined benefit, people were looking for longevity at a corporation. You heard the story, grandpa or my uncle, he had a job for 40 years, which he hated, but he held on to it. He endured the abuse, and then he survived until 65, and he started collecting a pension. Life starts at 65. He bought a boat, he bought an RV, he started enjoying life. That was the past. And because employees, looked for longevity, it was not fashionable, it was not accepted to switch jobs too often. Imagine if you're 55, you're 10 years from retirement, and you don't like it, can you just walk out the door? It's going to be extremely difficult for you to find employment elsewhere. Because prospective employers will look at your resume and they'll be thinking, so you couldn't just endure it for 10 more years? Well, I guess we don't want you here either, We don't like job hoppers. We want someone who stay for life. And because employees were too afraid to be viewed as a job hopper, they stayed and then they endured the abuse. And this was the environment that enabled the management style, which today we would call proud to be a tyrant, with a whip, They were a one-trick pony, which is, I have the whip, I'm going to whip you, and if you don't like it, let me show you where the door is. That was the management, the leadership style pre-pension reform. They were abusing employees, knowing employees were too afraid to be viewed as a job hopper. And employees wanted to stay for the pension, Now, post-pension reform, employees are no longer incentivized to stay at a corporation for life, Employees, the smart ones, they realize their job security is their own skill set. If they have up-to-date, marketable skills, other employers will be competing amongst themselves to come and hire me because I'm a valuable employee. My skills are up-to-date and I'm a good contributor. That's my security. So the table has been turned. So being a tyrant of a manager is no longer effective as a leadership style. You really have to lead employees by focusing on what's in it for them. Your messaging has to be delivered to employees not as a military order, but as something good for you. You have to help them to change their thinking, so they will change their feeling, so they will change their action from, say, not wanting to do this task, not wanting to do this project because their thinking was, there's nothing for me to learn. This is a obsolete technology. Change it to, here's the following benefits, 1, 2, 3 for you if you learn this technology, if you get involved with this project, with this task. For example, when I was working for this large legacy technology company, let's just say their company name is, they make machines for business and then they do it internationally, and they've been around for more than 100 years. So when I was working for them, they had a legacy system, which everybody knows it was one attempt, but they failed. All right, the joke of that system is obsolete 2, OS2, and nobody wanted to learn that system. All right, so one day the manager came and he said, I actually have a project and I need somebody who knows OS2 to work on it. And we all looked at each other and we all said, no, I don't know it and I don't want to learn it. And then we all pointed our finger at Mark. And the manager has already said, okay, I'm not going to force you to work on it if you don't know it and you don't already know it and you don't want to learn it. Because the manager knows it's a dead technology and nobody wants to learn because there's no market out there. But Mark has actually went through training and he knows how to operate OS2. So we all pointed our finger at Mark, and Mark had no choice but to get up and go with the manager to work on that project for a week. But the manager also knows he owes Mark big time, because he made Mark work on old, obsolete, dated technology. This is why emotional intelligence is such a vital part of your leadership skill set. Okay, you cannot order people around anymore. You cannot crack a whip at your employees anymore. That was pre-1990. Okay, that was popular back in the 1950s. In the 21st century, you cannot do that anymore. You have got to lead people in the sense of what's in it for them, for your employees. And you have to use your emotional intelligence. If you want to change their behavior, their conduct, their actions, you have to change their feelings first. And in order to change their feelings, you have to change their thinking, their understanding, their belief. Okay? And that's why being a tyrant of a manager, grab them by the collars and just shake them and just yell at them, that's no longer effective, and nobody is using that technique anymore. So that's how I explained this to this older gentleman. And by his appearance, and obviously he has been retired for a long time, and he heard about all this latest whatever style of leadership. And my guess is he has been wondering about this for years, for decades. Okay, finally he had a chance to ask someone, and he was not expecting me to give him an answer. He thought I was going to say, I don't know. But I guess he was intellectually satisfied. So I think he will finally be able to accept the reality that you can't be a tyrant of a leader anymore. So I hope I made my contribution with my volunteer teaching at this volunteering organization. When I finally sat down, finished my class, sat down, the lady who sat next to me, who was the president of the organization, she was also the person who invited me to come and teach. She asked me, how do you know about pension reform? Well, she is a business owner. She sells retirement financial products like stocks and securities and 401k and all that stuff, and Roth IRA and Roth IRA and all that good stuff. She knows about pension reform. And most people she come across, they don't know about pension reform. So when she heard that I knew about pension reform, she was like, how do you know about pension reform? Well, I'm a business coach. It's something that I need to know. Otherwise, I can't be teaching business leadership if I don't know the history, if I don't know the incentives. Okay? As Charlie Munger would say, show me the incentive and I will show you the result. And that was why you need to incorporate emotional intelligence into your management toolkit, into your leadership toolkit. That is why it's an essential part of your leadership ability, okay? To use emotional intelligence to influence and persuade your employees, your team members. Don't forget to like and subscribe. So this way, when I release new educational videos, you will be notified and you will be the first to learn. And also, make sure you send this video to as many people as possible so we can all learn and grow together and help each other to grow together. We're in this together. And if you need private coaching, business consulting, or training, feel free to contact me. And my contact details are linked below.